Hi all, Mads Barnkop from Kaizer Power Electronics here. In this video I am going to talk about the large 4 megavolt Van der Graaff generator that we had installed here in Denmark at the Copenhagen University's Department of Theoretical Physics. The old Van der Graaff generator is today located at the Danish Energy Museum, which is where I, along with Finn Hammer, did a new Tesla coil installation, and it's actually located in this same building, the Bohr Tower, which is named after Niels and Aage Bohr, which are both two Danish scientists with Nobel Prizes. And the funny thing about those two is it's father and son, which is only out of 4 pairs in the world where father and son have received the Nobel Prize in the same field of science. Another funny loopback is that it was the Niels Bohr Institute that hired me to do a Tesla coil show on the Roskilde Festival back in 2022. Niels Bohr was very influential in the theoretical physics in Denmark. He succeeded in founding the university's Department of Theoretical Physics in Copenhagen. Later on, it also got renamed to the Niels Bohr Institute 4 years after his death in the 60s. The same year that Niels Bohr received the Nobel Prize in 1922, his 4th out of 6 sons were born, and that is Aage Bohr. And Aage walked in his father's footsteps and received a Nobel Prize in 1975 along with another scientist for their work in comparing theory and experimental results on the structure of atoms, that they define the non-uniform distribution or energy distribution in an atom. And for the use of these experiments, they used this Van der Graaff generator, which was the first of the large ones that was installed in the Niels Bohr Institute. And there is very little information to find about these Van der Graaff generators, but I have one picture where we can see it being located inside its pressure tank vessel. This is the Van der Graaff generator as it is installed today at the Energy Museum. As we can see, it is without its top inner shell and without the pressure vessel, which was used to pressurize the tank in order to obtain higher voltages. As the Van der Graaff generator is sitting today, it is being able to run, but it can only reach voltages up to around 1 megavolt instead of 4 megavolt. We can see that in the middle we have the beam column going down, and up on the top shell we would have the iron source. The construction is mostly just corona rings along with the ceramic insulators making up the entire construction to have a long enough belt to build up a negative potential to drive down the positive charges from the positive hydrogen source. The red tube we saw at the bottom is the vacuum tube. This is where the vacuum pump sits to evacuate the beam column. Now the bottom part of this is missing in the museum, which would be the deflecting magnet, which turns the vertical beam into 2 horizontal beams. The vacuum pump of the system is most likely a diffusion type pump or a jet gas pump. As we can see here, we have the cooling coils running around the pump pipe itself, or the motor housing. It evacuates the beam column from all air molecules in order for the positive charged particles not to bump into air molecules on their way down. The belt is driven by a 11 kilowatt synchronous motor, asynchronous AC motor, a pretty large motor. This will have been very noisy, I imagine, but it will also have been mounted inside a chamber. Here we can see the belt running all the way up through the column and how it goes down here to the back to the control panel of the motor itself. Now this is a installation made at the museum. This is not how it was wired up in the original setup. The iron source, as displayed here at the museum, seems to be missing some crucial parts. We can see that we have a black box, which is presumably a high voltage transformer, and we have a tube, which I would guess is a triode. And then we have a white capacitor sitting there, so some kind of RF circuit then I would guess that we are missing some kind of RF coil, which would be around the glass part. And then we can see a gas inlet down on the right side here. So we have a gas inlet and then RF excitation of the gas, and that would create positively charged atoms, hydrogen atoms, to be used as particles to be accelerated down the beam column. At the top of the control panel we have the motor belt driven controls. We have like stop, ready and start buttons, and there is amp meters, and it's actually labeled to be a triangle and star connected, so that would be fast and slow belt, and it seems that the two panels at the top are actually identical. Underneath we have a microamp measurement, and the labels are gone here. So what would we measure in microamps in a Van de Graaff generator? Could be charging current somewhere, but I'm unsure where, as we will see on some controls further down. There seems to have been located a speaker at some kind. We have an hour meter and a general purpose power supply to the right. And then we will zoom in on the left panel where we have some more finer controls and some kind of data acquisition. Now at the finer controls we can see here we have 4 meters and 4 knobs. So here we can adjust something that says suction voltage, could be related to the vacuum pump, and we have some gas inlet. Then there is a focus and a anode voltage, and the anode voltage would be on the iron source. So I'm actually unsure how this would be controlled, because I imagine that the iron source would be powered from a generator running from the belt on top to get some isolation to the 4 megavolt potential difference in the system. For Bohr and Mendelssohn to prove the experimental results up towards the rainwater nuclear model, they needed very tight control. They needed to accelerate the atoms or the charged positive particles, the protons from the hydrogen, to a speed of very precisely 30,000 kilometers per second. If the protons are going too fast, they will simply just pass through their piece of aluminum, but if you hit it just right, they will get gamma radiation, and by that they can do modeling of the buildup of the atom itself. Underneath we have the belt spray, and here we are referring to the aluminium box that we saw next to the large motor. To the left we have the microamp measurement for the belt spray. So this is the high voltage spray from needles that goes onto the plastic belt to charge it even more than the static different properties of the materials could do them themselves. And it's controlled by a variac sitting in the middle. I think over to the right is a measurement of the current running in the beam column itself. It's labeled as the corona Säule, which would be corona column. So I assume this is the accelerator part going down towards the magnet. Underneath we have a quite peculiar instrument here. A Nuclear Data Incorporated Model 60. Now this is quite special because it doesn't really have any clear markings. It seems to be a kind of oscilloscope or spectrum analyzer with a few special data acquisition features built in, that you can actually record something and then replay it. And looking at the buttons, it's also something along the lines of view and maybe some you can say halt and modes, and actually do some magnification, setting it up as a graph. I have been unable to find any kind of data on this specific model, but I have found some old datasheets from newer models from Nuclear Data. And here we can see there is a ND Model 600, which is labeled as a multi-sensor or multi-channel analyzer. And that probably also makes sense to the experiments that were made with this machine, which would be looking at the different spectrums, which is also part of their Nobel Prize work on the modeling of the atoms, that it is simply based on the peaks in a spectrogram to see which layers has energies distribution in a atom nuclei. Thank you for watching, and if you ever find yourself in Denmark, I encourage you to visit the Museum of Energy or the Energy Museum. Not because I have done work for them or because that I am in any way affiliated with them, but simply because it is the one and only museum we have of energy. And it is the only museum that we actually have with some high voltage generators accessible to the public. We do have some minor installations in other museums, but I would say that this one has the largest, and it's definitely worth a visit. I'm actually unsure if they are still running with the Van de Graaff generator. I have not seen it run, and I have visited 3 to 4 times through the course of my life so far, but hopefully I will see it run one day. So until next time, see ya.